Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Alex Talks, where I sit here and read off a topic that I have not preemptively thought about at all, and I just kind of talk to you about it for a little bit. So this one's going to come from Twitter, or you can tweet your topics to @AlFighter27. This comes from my great co-host Nabishin. He sent me 3 ideas. This one sounds good. Game experience is greater than game length. I'm going to take that as game experience versus game length, because that sounds a little bit classier. So game experience versus game length. He cited the example is Three Brothers, which I have not yet played, and or Two Brothers, whatever, the Brothers game that just came out on Xbox Live Arcade, and Journey. So if you have not read my Journey review, you know, maybe it's a bit of a point of contention, but I give it a 10, and I consider that game very near perfect. I don't consider any game perfect, because I would say somebody is nitpicky and critical as me. I'm just not going to find a perfect game. I just, I feel like in my critic's heart, it's not possible. But, who knows? Maybe I could. I would say the perfect game tailored to me would be Persona 4 Gold, my favorite game of all time. But that is not a perfect game. It is just a perfect game for someone like me. So, game experience versus game length. Now, I love Journey. That game it took me 4 hours to finish it. And I know people are like, oh, that game's 2 hours, whatever. You're full of shit. Where'd you get your reviewing license? I don't have a reviewing license. I'm just some guy on the internet. No, that game took me 4 hours to beat. I love that game. Whatever, internet. I think that game's awesome. I think that game is totally deserving of a perfect score. Or not a perfect score. Again, we're gonna throw around this word perfect, back and forth. Not perfect. It is a masterpiece, on the IGN scale. A masterpiece. A game that is a 10 will be qualified as a masterpiece, which I gave, The Last of Us a 10 to go on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is a lengthy, very chock full of stuff game. I gave that a 10 as well. So are they both the same? No. They scratched 2 different itches, right? Journey was this thing. It was, I'm gonna keep using that. It was a thing. It was dope, son. Journey is a weird thing. Again, this is what happens when I don't prepare. I think Journey is just, it's such a, in my review I described it as the Fantasia of video games. Because never in a game before it had I really, had it struck a chord that everything I'm seeing, I'm hearing as well. Like the billowing of the sand that I'm moving across, it's just these big, loud cellos and violins and all these string instruments, roaring in the background, and the feel of everything was just amplified by this music that seemed perfect with everything. And it is this orchestral music, so it kind of went along with the analogy to Fantasia. It fit. It was just like everything I saw, I did, and I heard. And it was just, everything was in a very unique type of unison that I don't think any other game has really hit that. There's just no other game where the sound design is as important to the game as it is in Journey. I haven't found it yet, at least. I really love Journey. I think, there's not a perfect game, like I said, but that experience was so magical to me. I played it by myself. I didn't have a co-op buddy, I don't think. I don't remember. I think I played it offline because I think my internet was down at the time, and I had just gotten my code. I had it downloaded the day before, and yeah, I just kind of sat down and played it by myself. I didn't have like the anecdotal co-op experience. But for me, that was just so... I haven't played Journey since I reviewed it. I played it once. Then I watched a couple other people play through it. And yeah, it was just... That was it. Oh no, I remember now. I played it in 2 sittings. I played the first 45 minutes by myself, then the second half, the ending portion of it in my second sitting with someone else in my co-op, just rotating people around. Yeah, that game is fucking magical. It is just... That experience, we're talking about experience versus length in gaming, that experience is irreplaceable. Like, I remember every fucking moment of that game. Just like, you know, you're going up the hills and you're going through the ruins, and then you slide down the hill, and then you go into the blue ruins, and you're going through, and then you see the machines for the first time, and then you're out, and then you go up the mountain, and it's just, every moment of that game sticks out with me, and I can remember the feeling that I had in every moment of the game, and the magic. And then the ending, where you die, and you're reincarnated, and you're given life again, and it's such a beautiful moment. And it's magical for me. Now, to compare that to something that I also love that is a lengthy game, like The Last of Us, that's like what? That took me 16 hours to beat. I think that game is incredible. I think it's got the best story in video games ever, in my opinion. Again. And yeah, fuck. That game is fucked up. It is really messed up. It's really dark. It's really dirty. I played it all the way through. 2 settings. I know a lot of people are like, fuck, man, I gotta put this game down. I gotta take a break. This is dark shit happening. I need to step back from this. I was none of that, man. I want everything all at once. It was just, yeah, I was a masochist with that game. But that's a game with like a whole nother idea behind it. It is a full, lengthy, solid experience with tons of Easter eggs, tons of little things, tons of collectibles. And that's something that Journey has almost none of those things. It is a short game with not very many collectibles, not very many hidden things, and a story that it doesn't tell you at all. You know, The Last of Us story is, it's scripted, it's narrated, it's told by these characters. Journey's story is not. And they're so different. They're so radically different. One's this lengthy game experience that I think is so full and so complete and so amazing. The other is this short, lengthy experience that I think just has just enough to make it amazing. Fantastic, even. So, like, comparing that experience, to another short game that I loved, Limbo, the ending of that game, now, there are some moments I got frustrated with that game. That's why I wouldn't consider it, quite on the tier of Journey, but that's like another 4 or 5 hour game. And, there are puzzles, and it gets frustrating. It's pretty, it's a game that doesn't tell you its story. But the experience I had with that was still so incredible, and the ending of that game is breathtaking. I remember beating that game. I remember I was sitting there, and then the end of the game is just like, and time stops. And if you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like, it was just an amazing moment for me. Yeah, the end of that game is crazy. And that's another short game that I just thought was really complete without having to give you all these collectibles and artificial things to make it longer. Not to say that I don't like those things. I enjoy collectibles and artificial lengthening of the game in the right scenario, but I think there's a time and a place for it, and Limbo and Journey don't really fit those things. But then you compare it to, let's compare it to a JRPG, okay? That's a game that is like, you go into it, you're like, this is going to be a fucking really long game with a lot of stuff to do, a lot of story, and a lot to take in. And it's just like, yes, I love Ni no Kuni. But would I say that experience was as good as my experience with, like, Journey? No, I would say it's close. It's a good game. I really like it. But I wouldn't say making a game longer makes it more magical. Like, or better, or anything. I think it validates a game in a lot of cases, like, oh, this is a retail game, it needs to be long. But again, that's artificial. Like, you can find downloadable games out there, like, State of Decay, $20 downloadable game. That game is easily like 40 plus hours if you want to do a lot of stuff in it. And that's like retail game length, right? Or what we assume. But like assuming that is dumb. There are games like what's a good example? Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, 6-hour game, retail game, $60 came out, $60, and that's a 6-hour game. It's that this validation of length just doesn't mean shit anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Game doesn't have to be long to be a retail game. Game doesn't have to be long to be good. Game doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to have a story, and it doesn't have to have 1,000 collectibles to be an incredible experience. It doesn't have to be up to this caliber of The Last of Us, to be amazing. And yes, The Last of Us is amazing, and it is great, and it is a great example of a AAA game that's gone all the way, and it is that caliber. It is just that goddamn good. But you don't look at it that way. Don't look at I have to be The Last of Us to be a game like that. To be an experience that's unforgettable. No, look at it there are games like Journey out there. There are games like Limbo. There are games like The Last of Us that are playing around with your expectations. Everyone thought, Last of Us is going to be some 8-hour, really, really linear game. And, it's really linear, but it's not that short game or semi-short game that everyone expected. And everyone thought that because Journey was 4 hours long, that it's not worth your time. But it totally is. Break these expectations. I don't care if you are the longest game in the world or the shortest game in the world. If the experience of that game is worth the time you put into it, then I don't care. I will enjoy it. Example. Playing Tales of Xillia right now, or Exilia. Not really sure which to say. And I fucking adore that game. I am 40 hours into that game, and I adore every second of it. It is so much fun to play. That's an example of a really long game that is just keeping me going. But, if I can play a 4-hour Journey and that experience feels complete and I never want to go back to it, then that sounds A-okay to me as well. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to sit there and get all chopped up about, oh, this game wasn't long enough. Oh, this game was too short. Oh, this game was too long. Blah, 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 blah. It's just no, man. Stop going into games with an expectation of an experience that is tailored to a length. Okay? Go into a game with a blank expectation that experience is that game, and that's what you get. And I think you might just start to enjoy games anymore. Or enjoy games more. This might sound like babbling, but it's just there are a lot of people out there that are ready to complain about a short game because it's not long enough. And that's understandable. It's understandable to the extent that I know a lot of gamers are on a budget. You spend $15 on Journey, you expect a game that you believe is worth $15. But my counterpoint to that, and hopefully I'll leave you with this, and hopefully it'll get you to think, is I would spend $60 on Journey, and the experience I would get from that game would have still been worth it. So maybe you should just look at it less through the $15 microscope, and more through the, what did I get out of this game? What did this game teach me? What do you guys think? Are you I prefer my games to be long, or I prefer my games to be an experience? Leave it in the comments below or tweet at me at AlFighter27. Let me know. Also, if you have an idea for Alex Talks and you want me to talk about something specifically, I'll just talk at you until I can't anymore. Tweet it at me at AlFighter27. I will probably read it here and talk about it. So definitely do that. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because that's going to help us out the most. Like it because then other people will see it. Share it with your friends so, they might like this too. I would love that if you shared it. And subscribe so you can get more of this great content. Now, Alex Talk Season 1 is coming to a close soon, but that doesn't mean there won't be more on the way if you keep subscribing and keep watching. So, please keep watching. We got a couple more weeks of this to go. And, yeah. Hopefully I'll think of something else to deal on here in the meantime. So, until next time. Please keep watching. I'll keep talking, and we'll keep this wonderful relationship we have going. Peace. At that moment, when I was playing that game, I'm tears. Tears are dripping down my face. And that was the only point I cried in that game. And the reasoning is that Ellie had put into words how I feel about religion. This is, again, we're going down a personal road. She put into words how I feel about religion better than I could have ever put into words myself.